All right, welcome back to the Just a Little Bit Out West podcast. We're going to get just a little bit out west this week. This week, I want to talk about this idea of being a lone wolf. One of the sermons that I really did not appreciate when I would go into different churches and the preachers would get up and they would give this sermon about how you can't be a lone wolf, you can't be out there on your own, you need to come into this church and get under my leadership. And I used to hear this quite often. And my experience with that a lot of times was that these pastors, when they said that you needed to come into their church and get under their vision, they really basically just wanted somebody to come in and do things their way. And they would kind of couch it in, if you don't do it my way, then it's wrong. And so you need to come in here and let me teach you how to do it right. And that's not wrong. But the problem is that you have these different people who they're really not mentoring you. They're just using you and wanting you to be under their control, so to speak. The sad thing is that it's true, and I can tell you, having been a lone wolf, that you can't go along very long as a lone wolf because you get tired. You need other people there to help you. You need mentors to lead you, and you need fellow worshipers and fellow believers to come alongside of you where you can work together and you can help each other. Because as a lone wolf, you can get really wore out just by trying to do it all by yourself. The Apostle Paul, in his writings, one of the things that you see that's sort of interesting is that he spends a little bit of time here, and it seems like he decides to go be a lone wolf as well. And in the scriptures, what you see there is that Paul, after he gets saved, he goes off and starts preaching in the synagogue, and things go south pretty quick, and there is a lot of resistance to him and to things that he has to preach. And so after about 10 years of this, he decides he's going to go to Jerusalem and he's going to talk to Peter and the rest of the disciples and ask them to let him know if what he's preaching is on the right track and if he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. And they say, yeah, you're right, Paul. This is good stuff. Keep doing what you're doing. There's a really interesting interaction in all of this, though, because Paul goes and he asks them for their blessing to make sure, as he says, that his gospel won't be in vain. But he still retains his own ability to understand and to hear from God. And it's really interesting because at one point, Peter and Paul get in each other's face. Paul climbs right up in Peter's grill and says, you should not be acting the way you're acting, because Peter didn't want to eat with the non-circumcised Gentiles. And it was because he was afraid of the Jewish leaders. And Paul says, that's wrong. But yet, Peter didn't hold any grudges, apparently, because in Peter's book, he says that the things that Paul says are scripture. He says they're hard to understand sometimes, but he says they are scripture. It's in this give and take relationship that I'm talking about that we need to be able to find our relationship with our pastor, with our leadership, with those who are above us and below us in this family of God. We need to be able to find this place where we can have a leader who will listen to us. If your leader only talks and never listens, there's a problem there. There's something that you may want to look into that. You might want to find somebody else to lead you, because this is supposed to be a back and forth, a give and a take. Your ego and their ego is really a dangerous thing in ministry. There is this thing that comes up all the time where people feel threatened by each other, or they feel like they have all the right answers and you couldn't possibly have any of the right answers. All of that is not good for the gospel. that needs to be dealt with. We need to be able to relate to each other, to share with each other. And look, it's true. Once in a while you get off by yourself, and if you spend too much time on your own, some things may sound reasonable that really aren't. I remember when I used to drive the combine out in the field and I'd be alone all day long. You have these thoughts go through your head, and when you're all by yourself, they sort of make sense. But then when you get out in the real world, you realize, no, that doesn't really make sense. In the same way, we need to have this family where we can go to our family and say to them, hey, what do you think about this? And they say, no, I don't think that's right. And you say, yeah, I think you're right. I think I was wrong about that. There's a humility there. There's a relationship there, a give and a take where you can help them and they can help you. That's so important. So I will come back next week and we will talk some more about getting a little bit out west. If you didn't know already, the book, The Little Bit Out West, is available online on my website. I will put the link in the description of the video. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them either on YouTube. I would rather, though, if you have the opportunity to send me an email, I like that a lot better. Anyway, I'll see you next week. Take care. No, don't take care. I know. Be careful for nothing, Jesus said. So, be blessed. All right. Bye-bye.